For months, Chinese warships crept closer to Taiwan, but this time they weren't met by a single navy. Instead, two of the world's most advanced fleets, American and Japanese, locked into perfect formation, broadcasting a message Beijing cannot ignore. Combined drills have quietly doubled since Japan rewrote its own rules in 2015. But what happens when a provocation sets this alliance in motion for real? A single destroyer on the horizon is only part of the picture. In these waters, each ship, aircraft, and submarine is a node in a sprawling sensor network. When the JS Kaga, a Japanese Izumo-class destroyer, launches its SH-60K helicopters, they scatter sonobuoys in wide arcs, listening for the faintest trace of a submarine. The data from those buoys streams back to the Kaga, then jumps across secure links to American ships like the USS Sharp, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. The Shoop's Aegis combat system, built for missile defense, now fuses Japanese sonar tracks with its own radar sweeps and satellite feeds. This creates a single unified picture, every contact, every blip, shared and updated in real time. The P-8A Poseidon, circling high above, relays its sensor feeds directly to both navies. Its radar tracks surface vessels while magnetic anomaly detectors sweep for submerged threats. The information moves seamlessly from aircraft to ship, then across the fleet deck, allowing commanders to see not just what their own sensors detect, but what every allied platform sees. When a Chinese frigate crosses into a contested zone, it is not just tracked by one radar, it is mapped by dozens, triangulated and plotted on every bridge display from the Philippine Sea to the Ryukyu Islands. This is not just about sharing maps. The Aegis systems on American and Japanese ships can hand off missile targeting data, coordinate air defense coverage, and synchronize responses to incoming threats. A single hostile launch triggers alerts across the entire network, with intercept options calculated and assigned in seconds. The technical backbone, data links, encrypted radios, and standardized protocols turns two navies into a single integrated force. This level of synchronization is not theoretical. It is practiced in every major drill, and it is the foundation of credible deterrence in waters where every second counts. The moment a Chinese warship edges toward the boundary, the choreography begins. Each allied ship moves into parallel shadow lanes, maintaining a steady standoff vector, close enough to signal presence, far enough to avoid accidental collision. Bridge-to-bridge radio calls cut through the static, every phrase delivered in clipped, formal English. A retired 7th Fleet officer describes the process. He says you are matching speed, holding a set bearing, and every maneuver is logged. If the Chinese vessel alters course, you adjust your vector, but you never cross their bow. The goal is to mirror, not provoke. Japanese and American destroyers coordinate their positions through encrypted channels, confirming distance and speed every few minutes. The JS Kaga's operations center plots the PLAN ship's movements on a digital chart, updating the intercept geometry in real time. The USS Shoop's Aegis system cross-references radar and sonar returns, ensuring both navies see the same picture. On the bridge, officers monitor the code for unplanned encounters at sea, known as queues, protocols, ready to issue clarifying calls if the Chinese ship attempts a sudden turn or increases speed. Helicopters from the Japanese deck maintain a racetrack pattern overhead, relaying live video and acoustic data. The entire intercept unfolds in a disciplined, almost ritualized sequence. No sudden moves, no ambiguous signals. Every action is deliberate, every word on the radio measured. This is not a game of chicken. It is a display of control and alliance discipline designed to show Beijing that coordination is not just technical but operational and human. For every maneuver, there is a countermove, and for every vector, a matching response. The choreography is practiced, but the stakes are real. In July 2014, Japan's cabinet approved a reinterpretation of Article 9 of its constitution, breaking with decades of strict self-defense policy. For the first time since 1947, Japanese forces could be authorized to defend an ally under attack, provided Japan's own survival was at risk. This decision did not rewrite the constitution, but it created a new legal pathway, one that would be tested and clarified in the months ahead. The following year, the Diet passed the legislation for peace and security. This set of laws spelled out the conditions. The self-defense forces could use force if an attack on a close partner threatened Japan's own security and fundamental rights. The government had to prove that no other means would suffice, and every action required Diet approval. The statute stopped short of allowing offensive operations or strikes on foreign territory, keeping the focus on defense and alliance support. These legal changes did not come easily. Lawmakers faced heated debate, with opposition parties and pacifist groups warning of entanglement in foreign wars. Yet the legislation passed, passed, transforming the boundaries of what Japan's military could do in a crisis near Taiwan. The new statutes formed the legal bedrock for every joint drill and operational plan in these waters. After the 2015 security legislation passed Japan's diet, the pace and complexity of joint naval exercises took on a new character. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, known as JMSDF, began scaling up participation in drills like Keen Sword, a biennial exercise that after 2016 shifted toward an almost annual operational rhythm. These drills, once limited to basic coordination, now routinely feature full-spectrum scenarios, including anti-submarine warfare, air defense, and live missile tracking. RIMPAC, the world's largest international maritime exercise, also saw a notable jump. In 2018, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force sent the helicopter carrier Kaga to Hawaii, fielding a larger contingent than ever before. By 2022, Japanese destroyers and patrol aircraft were not just observers, but active participants in multilateral task forces, rehearsing refueling at sea and coordinated strike operations. Each annual report from the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force documents this evolution. More ships, more flight hours, more complex missions, reflecting a deliberate move from symbolic presence to operational integration. This uptick is not theoretical, it is logged, measured, and reported year after year. Every image and video in this documentary comes from verified sources, with on-screen credits for each. Satellite imagery is licensed directly from Planet Labs and Maxar, two of the world's leading commercial providers. These companies supply high-resolution shots of Yonaguni Island, ship movements in the Philippine Sea, and the construction of forward operating sites. Each image tagged with a timestamp and satellite pass number. For scenes showing Japanese naval operations, footage is drawn from the official Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force media library. Every Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force clip includes a digital watermark and catalog number, confirming its origin as government-released material. When the documentary shows ship formations or aircraft tracks, those graphics are built from open-source data, cross-checked against official press releases and exercise summaries. Nothing is speculative. The credit protocol ensures that viewers can trace each frame back to its source, whether it is a satellite pass over the Ryukyus or a Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force training sortie logged in the official archive. This level of transparency is deliberate. Every claim, every image is anchored in verifiable evidence. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense released a communique at dawn, listing 76 People's Liberation Army aircraft and 13 naval vessels detected near the island during the April drills. The figures landed in headlines across Taipei, offering reassurance that the government was tracking every move, every hour. A senior analyst at Taiwan's Institute for National Policy Research described the Allied presence as the backbone of credible deterrence. A signal to the public that Taiwan is not alone, even as its own navy remains outgunned in open waters. Across the strait, the Chinese Foreign Ministry delivered a different message. In its official transcript, Beijing called the United States and Japan maneuvers destabilizing and accused Washington and Tokyo of manufacturing tension. State media ran segments depicting the joint fleet as evidence of foreign interference, framing the exercises as a pretext for containment. For Taiwan, every new incursion count is a measure of risk and a test of Allied resolve. For Beijing, each broadcasted intercept is a proof of a coalition stacked against its interests. The same event, split by a channel of water and by irreconcilable narratives. Alliance planners spent years refining protocols, but April 2025 brought a leap from exercise to institution. That month, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stood beside his Japanese counterpart in Tokyo and pledged to accelerate the establishment of a joint operational command. The promise was not just symbolic. A formal headquarters would unite US Forces Japan and Japan's own Joint Operations Command, shifting from coordination to real-time operational integration. Staffed by hundreds and headquartered in Tokyo and Yokota Air Base, the new structure is designed to handle everything from missile defense to logistics, with direct reporting lines to Indo-Pacific Command in Hawaii. Yet even as the command architecture solidified, Alliance officials quietly acknowledged the limits. A classified hotline links US and Japanese naval commanders to their Chinese counterparts, intended as a last resort channel if maneuvers spiral out of control. The existence of this line is confirmed, but its protocols remain behind closed doors. For all the technological and institutional progress, the risk of miscalculation lingers. One misunderstood order, one missed call, and the machinery of deterrence faces its hardest test. Today, two allied navies stand watch in waters where miscalculation could spark global crisis. As joint operations by the US and Japan intensify, deterrence is no longer just a message, it is lived reality. In these tense straits, peace depends on preparation. The world watches, knowing one wrong move could change history.